Hey y'all, good morning. So I wanted to hop on here to my YouTube channel and talk to you guys a little bit about one of my most beloved shows, which is Supernatural. And they have reigned for 15 years. And if you don't know, they just ended their series just a couple days ago. I have a few thoughts regarding the series finale, and I thought I would just hop on here and see if you guys wanted to share my grief about what happened at the end and about how we're not going to be sharing our week with the Winchesters anymore. So if you have thoughts regarding the show, I welcome your comments. Tell me what your thoughts are and how much you're going to miss them. So let's just talk about one of our favorite scenes first so we can get that out of the way so our brains can actually start functioning again. Let me show you kind of one of my favorite scenes that I shared on my TikTok that I'm pretty positive most of you ladies were very excited about as well. I mean, oh my goodness. Jen Padalecki, you are a one lucky lady. I'm pretty sure I watched that scene, I'm not gonna lie, maybe like a couple times, more than a couple times now that I've been watching it. Let's rewind, shall we? I mean, look at the cuts on him, Jared. Dang it. Do you think that he really got like super fit for the new series that he's in, Walker? Maybe. I was also kind of disappointed that Dean Winchester did not also get a shirtless scene. I mean, if you're going to do it, I mean, go all out. That's how I feel about it. But I don't know, maybe Jensen didn't want to take his shirt off, which I totally understand. And Supernatural is not about that. But I just thought I would just put that out there so we can get that out of the way and start talking about the nitty gritty of what the series finale was actually about. Let's just recap the series finale first. So basically what happens is that Sam and Dean is now free from God because Jack became God and brought everything back. And now they're free to make their own choices and do whatever they want. So they find a case and it ends up being a vampire nest. And fatally, Dean dies from a vampire pushing him into a really spiky object. And Dean passes away. And Sam is now left to live his life and has kids and a family and becomes an old man and then joins Dean in heaven at the end. Of course, we have to talk about the most emotional and key part to the whole episode.
You're supposed to live like this, right? And look at us. Saving people hunting things, it's what we do.
I always thought that on the episodes leading up to this, he never said the phrase saving people hunting things. And I always thought that they were going to save it till the last episode, and they did. It totally makes sense. What happens after this is so tragic.
I did not think this would be the day. But it is. That's okay. I need you to promise me. I need you to tell me it's okay. I need you to tell me it's okay. Look at me. I need you to tell me it's okay. You tell me it's okay. It's okay. You can go now.
So I always get get teary-eyed watching that because just the way that it ended, I feel like if you've ever gone through any type of grief, you always think about like closure and what you could have done differently in the moments past before somebody's passing. And I really think that they did this so well because Dean really had a chance to basically say that, I'm super proud of you and I wouldn't have lived my life any differently. And that I really want you to be happy and move on and it's okay, And I think that also it gave Dean some closure too during his passing because his brother was able to tell him that, yes, I'm going to be okay, So if you've ever experienced any type of grief, you know that this is so key in anybody's moment in their life. And when people are passing away, it really gives them that closure. It doesn't make you miss them any less, but it really hits home here for me during this scene. It was just so emotional, so impactful, and they really did it really, really well. And I think one of the things that they set us up for really well for this scene in particular to get us really, really emotional and hyped was the scenes leading up to that, where they have a little fun with us as well. Basically reminding us of all the great moments of what the show was about. For instance, the pie scene.
It's so beautiful. Are you crying? What? No, you're crying.
So then this scene where they're kind of poking fun at each other or poking fun at their own characters, it really kind of brings you back to like all those funny moments that happened throughout the 15 years, really, and those moments that really make you relate to them. So that's why I feel like when the emotional moments came, like the ones that I want to talk about in the next few slides, it really hits you right here because you totally feel that you totally feel the loss as well. Okay, so in that scene where Sam makes toast and Dean catches the toast, we don't realize that at the beginning of that scene, it's setting us up for another toast scene that really got me hard. So surreal, right? Because one day they're laughing with you, they're having toast with you. The next day they're not anymore. And so I really felt that. I really felt that in my heart for Sam. Later on in the series, you see that Sam is living his life and he names his son Dean, which is such a heartfelt moment. A couple of disappointing things is I felt like the Castabel should have at least shown his face in this last 2 episodes. He went away like 2 episodes ago, and I felt like at least this episode they would have at least shown his face. He was such a big part of the show, and I would have at least liked to see him. So I was disappointed in that. The other thing is that I felt like the ending was so, I guess, not open-ended, so final. And I think that the reason why they did that was because we knew that if Sam and Dean kept living on after the series, or if there was a cliffhanger or something like that, we would never give up hope that there would always be a revival of the show, which I wouldn't mind if there was a revival. I think that there should be a revival, but don't disappoint us like Veronica Mars revival, okay? But a revival. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if there was a revival of Supernatural. Maybe after a few years, Jensen and Jared, if you guys are tired of doing other projects, you might want to come back. I would hope that. But anyway, yeah, I felt like it was seriously just an ending. But like I said, I watched Alana King's reaction to it, and she said that she felt like that time jump gave a lot of leeway for miniseries. And my thought is that, well, what's going to happen? Will they bring Dean back somehow in spirit, and then he would go back to heaven? How would that work? Because he asked during his death not to come back. Yeah, but it gives me lots of hope that in my heart that they will still see each other again. Because obviously the way that they did it was like in heaven, time goes much slower, and on Earth, 40 years is a long time, because I feel like he lived like 40 years above Dean. We're just gonna play one final clip at the end here.
Hey, Sammy. Dean.
Okay, so that embrace at the end, oh, it was everything. I just really felt that for them, that long embrace of like haven't seen each other for many years. One of the things I love about Supernatural is that they don't muck up the storyline with all these love triangles, and things like that. It really is a story about family and about brotherly love. I love that about the show. So with that being said, I want to talk to you guys about some of the new projects they might be having and my thoughts on that. Walker's on CW. That's going to be in January. I'm actually surprised they jumped into a new project so quickly. I thought they were going to wait at least like a year or something like that. But I assume that since they were on the show for 15 years, there were so many other projects they wanted to do they couldn't do. So I'm happy for them that they're in new projects as well. So I'm excited to see what Walker is about. I don't know what exactly the show is about because I heard that it's a revival of an old show, right? The other thing is that Jensen's going to be on The Boys, if you guys do not know that. And The Boys is basically kind of an alternative like superhero sci-fi show. I tuned into The Boys recently and started watching season 1 so I can catch up for season 3 when Jensen's going to be there. Jensen's going to be on it as a superhero, and that's great for him, right? Because we have always wanted him to play a superhero role. But the thing is that if you don't watch The Boys already, you should watch it because the superheroes on that show are pretty, let's just say they're fucked up and they're all like messed up in the head and stuff like that. And they're just, so I'm concerned because, you know, like I said, one of the things I loved about Supernatural was that it was a story about brotherly love, and they didn't muck it up with like sex and drugs and all this other things that was like going on. And I feel like with him being in The Boys, we will be seeing a different alternate side of him that we have not seen on a CW show. So I'm a little bit concerned about my thoughts of him as being on The Boys versus being Dean Winchester. I'm sure he's going to be great in the role. I'm happy that he's going to be able to play a new role, expand his horizons a little bit. This particular episode, you've seen how much the guys have grown over time as well. So it really was impactful to see like the emotional aspect of it. I think that we really needed it as an audience at the end to see them emotional like that. And overall, I was pretty happy with the episode and how it was filmed and the things that they were trying to portray in the episode. I'm not happy that Dean died so tragically. I think that he could have had a more epic ending. He survived so much worse, you know? So I feel like they could have amped that up a little bit. I guess that if they had made it much bigger, like he got killed by an epic like character or something like that, we would focus too much on that and not enough on how Dean has accepted that this was his fate. Also, one of the things I just wanted to mention really quickly before I sign off was that I think that this is the ending that it was meant to happen. Just because if you think about all the other seasons that have led up to this season, every season, most of the time, Dean has always been the one that has sacrificed himself for his younger brother. So I feel like Dean, it couldn't have been the other way around. It couldn't have been Sam that passed. It would have had to been Dean if any of them was going to go. Anyway, tell me what you thought in the comments. Did you like the ending? Were you satisfied with it? What other alternative endings would you have liked to see? And will you be watching the 2 new shows that they'll be on? Are you going to be watching Walker or The Boys? And what are your thoughts on seeing them in new characters? I'd like to know all those things. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to you next time.